So this is one of my students' storybird that he created, Day in the Life of Hogwarts. This is by one of my students who was a former EL student. His primary language is Polish, and he was only recently exited, but he's still on consult of on when he sees his EL teacher pretty much as needed. And you can see he chose a really nice illustration here for his Hogwarts illustration, his cover photo. That was his title page, and it starts out and he says Hogwarts is a magical place, and he kept that same photo. And first years in Hogwarts take boats to the entrance. So you can see that his sentences are rather short and a little bit choppy. He's pretty much summarizing so far what we've read in Harry Potter. Then we are taken to the sorting hat to be sorted into our houses. There are 4 houses in Hogwarts. My house is Hufflepuff. We are loyal and honest. Gryffindor is brave and daring. Ravenclaw is intelligent and values knowledge. So what Toby is doing here is pretty much taking the words right out of the book and just using them with the best graphic that he can find. And that's okay. He's trying to use specific wording that they have, like cunning and ambitious, that's directly out of the chapter in the sorting hat rather. And then he goes on to talk about the classes that typical Hogwarts students would take. Something that I personally noticed is that instead of the student working to create his own story, what he did is he used the premise of Hogwarts and basically just stuck with it. We did encourage students to use plot in their storybird. However, with Toby, still being somewhat new, I guess, to the language and still getting comfortable with his presentation and knowing he had to use this with a partner, I understand why it would make him a little bit nervous to branch out and trying to put these things into his own words. And you can see here too that not every graphic matches what he's talking about. That was some feedback I got overall with all the students, is that there's a very limited number of graphics that they're able to use. Once you pick an illustrator, you are only able to use that illustrator's work for the rest of the book. There wasn't a whole lot of switching and changing that could happen. And, he decided to use some more abstract illustrations to talk about bludgers. This is regarding the Quidditch game. And he puts himself in the position of being the goalie or the keeper for the team. So he is trying to place himself within the story, which is good. But you can tell he's still a little bit uncomfortable with all of the creative words that he could be doing. He goes on to talk about his classes he gets to take. And then here is where we really see him take a chance and get into more of that creative aspect, talking about a fictional character that he made up, Crystal, and then kind of placing her in the role of Hermione and trying to make sure that he is talking about, other different parts of being at Hogwarts. So you can kind of see this is, again, that same picture, and then it's the end. So overall, he did pretty well here, but you could tell he's just a little bit uncomfortable with branching out and finding those synonyms for the frequently used words that we saw within our novel. However, he did stick with the concepts, and even though he may have struggled a little bit, overall he did pretty well using Storybird and grasping technology, and I can see that he understood the book, even if he didn't necessarily understand the assignment.